Tonight on Mid-Card Madness, we've got 2 women's matches. We've got 2 qualifiers for the Fatal 4-Way for the #1 contendership for the WWE UK Championship. And we have the debut of Ilya Dragunov. Gentlemen, raise your beverages. It's an NXT party.
Support, no DQ.
Welcome everybody to the NXT party. Welcome everybody to the NXT party.
Support, no DQ.
Welcome everybody to the NXT party for episode number 43 of NXT UK. I am your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the gentleman, Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight our special guest is the holiday Christopher Mace. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing great. Everybody knows I love a 4-match card. Bonus match.
Yep.
5 matches tonight. This was not great, but much like NXT was this week, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it did a lot to progress a couple storylines. It actually set up some great matches for the next couple weeks, so let's get underway.
To be very fair to this show, though, I was underwhelmed by what I was expecting. Because we had a match that had both Jordan Devlin and Dave Mastiff, and the debuting Ilya Dragunov, who is just being like boasted as like, oh, this guy is the... I was slightly underwhelmed by almost this entire show, just because I had high expectations.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'd have gone into tonight not knowing what the matches were coming up, I might have enjoyed this show better.
Yeah, that's very true too.
I think so too.
Because we've also already seen, Devlin versus Ligero before. So that kind of like took away from the spark of it.
Well, the only surprises here were the Piper Niven match, the other women's match, Killer Kelly and Xia Brookside, and the opponent for Ilya Dragunov. Other than that, we knew the whole card going in, but it was enough. Yeah. I was hyped going into watching this show. I came out of it less than hyped.
Mm-hmm. So
fair warning, there is that.
Yeah.
But let's start this off. Piper Niven versus, we gather, Jamie Hayter. Hader, I'm assuming.
No name card, no anything. We didn't even turn on captions.
No music, nothing.
We didn't really care.
We just had to listen to the commentators when they happened to slip her name in there, and that's our guess, Jamie Hayter. Of course, that means Piper Niven is winning this. And other than the sequence for the finish, I have no notes. This was a pretty basic squash match. Yeah. I really don't think Jamie had much offense at all.
No.
Especially after she slapped Piper Niven.
No.
That should be the general rule number 4 is don't slap Piper Niven.
Number 2 is going to be eventually remembered number 2.
Yeah, Piper Niven's going to slap you in the face with the top of her head. That's what's going to happen. Because that's what happened.
Yeah.
She nails Jamie with a headbutt, and then comes off the ropes with that crossbody splash, and then sets her in the corner for the cannonball. Like her and Dave Mastiff have like the exact same moveset.
Yeah.
Other than the Michinoku driver. That's how she finishes this match. And commentary makes sure that we know that she has said that Taka Michinoku himself is okay with her using that as her finishing move. And I'm like, I could give a fuck less.
It's like I put it as like 5 different wrestlers setup moves in NXT or 64 is like no mercy.
What Taka Michinoku has to understand is that his move was so innovative that they call it the Michinoku driver when it's just done on its own, and people have developed their own moves that incorporate his move with it or end with that move out of something else.
Falcon Arrow moves like those, yeah.
So, I'm sure he's fine with it. We don't need his blessing in this case, but whatever. That's how she wins the match. What did you think about this match overall, Chris?
Short squash match, pretty much. Just building Piper Niven up, pretty much. That's all we're doing there.
What about you, Jerry?
Haters gonna hate. That's pretty much all it was. She did that what's so special about you thing that the heels do, and sure enough, nothing really special in this match, and wasn't even really a great opener. It was just there. did nothing to progress any storylines. There was no promo or anything afterwards. It was just...
We'd have been better off watching a video package for Piper Niven.
Yeah. The video package would have had that whole personality thing.
Yeah,
or,
this match wasn't much of anything. It was kind of a lame way to start off the show. But it is what it is. Moving on.
Yep.
We get a press interview with Toni Storm. One of those where there's like 7 different people holding recording devices at her face, but you can't see any of them. And she's just talking at all of them. And she's talking about Nina Samuels, and she says, you know what? If you had to go and make this personal, you're not going to get in my head. Instead, you're going to catch a beating, basically.
Yeah.
And
you want your 15 minutes of fame, you're going to get it.
She says she'll even put up the title, which is, I'm sure, what Nina Samuels was hoping for. So she essentially makes a challenge here. She says that she knows she can get the match. All she has to do is talk to Johnny Saint. So much like William Regal was last night, I feel Johnny Saint is going to be a busy man these next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What do you think about the match, or this promo here, Jerry?
Good old Motley Swift is mad.
Motley Swift.
Motley Swift. Like, I mean, her name's Toni Storm. Taylor Swift. TS. Can't be a coincidence. But at the same time, I really don't care. I like Nina Samuels. She's got a really cool persona. And she's actually on a bit of a roll, but at the same time, that roll's just going to get deflated in favor of just Toni Storm's dominance. So, I can care less about this match. I can care less about the women's title match for this one. And if Nina Samuels somehow pulls off victory, more power to her. It'd be cool to have her as champion, but it's unlikely in all likelihoods.
Now, to her credit, Toni Storm showed a little bit more personality while speaking here. Chris, at any point during this, though, did you happen to, I don't know, enjoy it?
I liked it because it was different, because it's not like you normally see on the main roster. They're actually making it feel like, making the champion feel like a big deal. You got all these people with microphones just holding up like one interview, making it feel like a sports kind of like feel.
I don't know, like on that. NXT I see them doing that with random
pretty much short to the point and just saying that she's going to go ahead and try to get her match up and she's going to put that title on the line.
Well, she's the champ. If it's a big match, she should put the title on the line.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's NXT UK. It's not like Raw where Brock Lesnar is champ and puts the title on the line once every 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So, up next we've got Cassius Ohno backstage approaching Sid Scala. And
who just got into the building?
Yeah.
He says that that Sid knows that the reason he's there is to show these British guys real British wrestling. And I'm like, I kind of dig this gimmick. The American coming over pretending to know British wrestling better than a bunch of Brits. And say better than a bunch of Brits 5 times fast.
It's kind of a reverse Office.
His main beef here, though, is that he wasn't even considered to be one of the 8 guys in this little tournament to get into the Fatal 4-Way. And I don't see why he should be. His win-loss record in NXT UK is not... I think it's about even at this point.
Yeah.
What do you think about Cassius Ohno here, Chris?
A good heel, what a good heel would do, he's going to whine and complain about not getting something he wants. I actually liked it.
Now, up next, we've got the match that I know Jerry was looking forward to here.
Mm-hmm.
And me, sort of, because I know we're going to get at least a couple of his greatest hits. We've got Ligero versus Jordan Devlin. This is our first of 2 qualifying matches for that Fatal 4-Way. And honestly, by the end of the show, I'll tell you up front right now, this match
should have been the main event.
Yeah, this match should have been the main event. This was a pretty great match.
Yeah.
Probably the best match of the show.
Probably the best match we've had out of Ligero.
That is a strong possibility. I think some of his earlier matches were pretty exciting, but nothing that told a story in the ring like this one did.
Yep.
he sold this abdomen midsection rib injury. Like, he was brilliant selling this, and it ended up, telling a story in the match on its own. Just because there were things that he couldn't do or had to do slowly, near falls coming off of some midsection hits, and then the finisher doesn't really work the midsection really, but
it was a change up, and that's where Devlin is so good at.
I'm gonna let you talk about this match first, since you were looking forward to it so much.
Oh yeah, we actually saw Ligero. I wouldn't really say he was the heel in this match, but he also wasn't the favorite.
He wrestled like the heel.
Yeah, he did a lot. Like you said when we were watching, he was doing a lot more rest holds on Devlin than Devlin was on him.
And he was taking most of this match. Devlin was working through a beating from Ligero.
Yeah.
And Ligero is supposed to be babyface, I thought.
Yeah.
But whatevs. It worked.
It was still a nice, solid, we'll go ahead and call it a mid-card match.
This whole card was mid-card.
I'm about to say, if we're looking at timeline-wise, though, and we're going to be getting 3 nights in Glasgow, Scotland, this would be right smack dab in the middle of the show. So this is the premier mid-card match. This is the match before you get up and they say, intermission time, people, let's do this. And sure enough, you had to have it after this match, because it was actually pretty exciting. Devlin sold like crazy, Ligero sold like crazy. It was just a good, solid match, front to back. Except for one move that I think may have been a botch. But even in the botch, looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Chris, did you think this match should have been main event too?
I think the match should have been main event compared to what we got. We'll discuss that later, but I thought this match should have been the main event. But I do agree with what you're all saying, though. It seemed like they reversed roles where Devlin was playing more of the babyface and Ligero was playing more of the heel.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's the talent of Devlin, though. Like I said, he needs a belt. Anytime they want to bring the European title back, be great.
Son of a bitch, yes. Yes. Okay, so going back to what Jerry said, the botch. Okay, this is actually my first note. I'm like, yeah, I gotta make note of this. Ligero goes for there's a series of moves. You know that fucking European / Mexican wrestling shit where they're just flying around each other and you're like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Anyway, series of moves, and then he goes for this sunset flip. But he goes a little too hard.
Yeah.
And he brings it into half sunset flip, half Canadian destroyer that Jordan Devlin takes without knowing it's coming. It looked great, though. For a botch, it looked so good. It didn't nail quite like a Canadian destroyer does. It was probably a little safer, but still pressure on the back of Jordan Devlin's neck.
Yeah.
But, my first note was the botch. And like Jerry said, even for a botch, it looked great. We got the... who was it? Devlin does a third move of Doom, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's John Cena's 5 moves of Doom. You've got shoulder block, and then the guy gets up and swings at Cena, who ducks, and then picks him up in that suplex. That suplex, but ending in a backbreaker over the shoulder by Devlin, who sells the backbreaker by selling his shoulder while Ligero's on the mat and he starts to beat on his back.
That's right. Instead of the protoplex, it was like the backbreaker instead.
Yeah, he's just kicking on him. We see Devlin's greatest hit number 1. That's the Uranagi into the standing moonsault for a near fall. Ligero counters another one of those backbreakers attempts and somehow comes at him into a cross body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's up in the air but comes down like for a pinfall, a crossbody pinfall. But he hurts his abs, and so he ends up rolling away. He hits a super kick on Devlin and then goes for this top rope splash. But Devlin counters it with, I have no idea, with knees to the gut.
Yeah.
He gets a near fall for that. And then Devlin goes for a moonsault, but Ligero counters with his feet up. So full leg extension right to the chin.
Devlin just stumbles backwards all the way across the ring.
And then falls out.
I'm not sure.
Lands on his head.
I can almost consider that an oversell, but at the same time, he makes it look so effortless and cool that I'm like, I'm alright with this.
So Ligero goes for this top rope splash, and by top rope, I don't mean in the corner. I mean in the middle, from the middle of the apron. He climbs up the ropes and goes for this splash, but Devlin ends up countering it. He goes up and catches him, and he goes for a middle rope again in the middle of the ropes. So a middle rope superplex, and then Ligero counters that, and he slips through, and he nails Devlin with a power bomb. And then he goes back out to the apron and does that middle rope splash, near fall.
Yep.
And I don't remember where I was. So Ligero goes for that C4L, where he does the springboard off the middle rope into a tornado DDT, but Devlin catches him on the ropes. So while he's trying to spring off the middle rope, Devlin catches him with an enziguri to the back of the head that drapes him sort of over the top rope. And then Devlin grabs his arm, pulls him off the middle rope into that, what we called the greatest hit number 2, which is now referred to as the Devlin side.
Yep.
Nails that, 1, 2, 3.
Such a cool name for that move.
I guess.
The Devlin side suplex.
I get it. The Devlin side.
Yeah, Devlin side.
Mm-hmm.
You're so
I thought it was Devlin space side.
No, the Devlin side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, that's the thing. It's a nice pun.
It is a great pun. It is so great that it was over my head for 2 weeks straight.
Yes.
And I am not afraid to admit I didn't get it.
You're like, I get it now.
I feel dumb, but it's okay.
Like light bulb went off.
Night shift.
So 1, 2, 3. Devlin gets the win. He moves on to the Fatal 4-Way. After this, Radzi comes in to interview him post-match, after-match, if you will. And Devlin just says the same old BS. You know, he says he didn't need a qualifying match. He doesn't need a number 1 contenders match. He is the number 1 contender. And what happens when you shuffle a deck or some bullshit like that? Again. Oh, this takes us back to like week number 3.
Yes.
When he's talking about being the Irish ace, and he brings up the metaphor of the deck of cards, and he mentions the Joker. He said, whether you're a Joker or a king, everyone falls to the ace, something like that.
Yeah.
Devlin shtick. And I'm like, same thing I said back then.
The Joker's a wild card.
Yeah. Joker trumps everything. Joker can be whatever card you want it to be.
Yep.
So, his metaphor doesn't work in this case, and I wish somebody would tweet to him about that.
Oh, I have to say this, though. Jordan Devlin combined 2 of my favorite rest holds into 1 submission hold in that match. The abdominal stretch and the armbar.
A kneeling armbar / abdominal stretch. It was great.
Yes, it was glorious.
The abdominal armbar.
The abdominal armbar.
Sounds like somebody mispronouncing abominable. The abominable armbar. The abdominable armbar. That's what I would call it.
Yep, the abdominal armbar.
No, abdominable. Mispronounced on purpose.
Mispronounced on purpose.
Abdominable armbar.
I like that. Okay, can we make that another Jordan Devlin's greatest hits?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yes!
So up next, we get a video promo for Walter. This is basically answering the one we had last week for Pete Dunne. Walter talks in very fine English.
I was about to say, he speaks it great.
Great. He sounds better speaking English than fucking Pete Dunne does. And that's his first language.
Pete Dunne's last name is really English.
I struggle to understand his fucking accent, and then Walter speaks, and I'm like, I don't even know if I hear an accent.
Mm-hmm.
He's becoming more and more that diehard villain that's supposed to be like super German, but he's actually like American. It's some sort of sympathizer.
You want to know what I get from this promo? Other than he starts it off talking about he doesn't know what pressure is.
Yeah.
Because he's the ring general. He goes in there to dominate in the ring. Like, he doesn't understand pressure. Everybody keeps asking him about pressure in these matches. Other than that, total babyface.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a doubt anymore. He is no longer a tweener. He is definitely a babyface. Bullshit amounts of respect for Pete Dunne in this promo. Like, that brought it down for me quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And I love these video packages that come out of NXT and NXT UK, but I'm like, God damn, man, let him have a little bit of mystique. Like, don't blow it all in one video package. Because up till now, up till this video package, we didn't know if he was a babyface or a heel. Or just a solid tweener that can do heel stuff but still gets cheered by the fans.
Mm-hmm.
No idea.
Yep.
And they fucking blew their load all in one video package. That wasn't even like his video package. It was an answer to the one from Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think about it, Chris?
I actually liked it, but I agree with what you're saying. It pretty much blew all their load in one shot, pretty much. Like I said, I mean, I understand, you want to play the babyface or be the babyface in this. That's great. You're explaining why you're giving the rematch because you're the first one to step up to you. But this is what I was complaining about with 205 Live Matters in that show the other day. There's just too much respect going on. And like people with the handshakes, people are hyping each other up. Oh, I respect you. I respect. Where are we going to go back to days of I hate you, I can't stand you? Seems like a lot lately I've been saying more of the I respect you, let's hug it out, let's respect each other, let's have a good match, respect each other. I want to go back to that, I can't stand you, and have that, brutality of it. I can't stand you, let's just beat the shit out of each other.
Well, there are even shades of gray where it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be a blood feud.
Yeah.
There are shades of gray that are acceptable, and there are times when you have a babyface versus a babyface, and a little bit of solid respect is fine. Briefly, and you don't make a big deal about it, but you have to show that they are both baby faces because it has to happen sometimes. It just does.
I didn't say nothing going overkill.
But this shit's happening too
later.
much. This is not the first time we're going to see some of this babyface v babyface respect in this show, but we'll get to that. What do you think about this, Jerry? Walter?
I'm still on the fence because he's the ring general for a reason. Yeah, he's awesome in the ring, but mentally wise, he's a little too cool and a little too confident going into this thing.
Could this be the red herring?
I'm fairly certain. I've seen enough Die Hard movies to know that you don't trust guys like these. They're like suave, sophisticated, and a little overconfident and
speak English better than you.
Yeah. Alan Rickman, fuck that dude. I expect the whole Hans Gruber thing to happen here soon.
So after this, we get an interview backstage with Mustache Mountain, or maybe outside. I don't know. It's in front of a curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's a backdrop to a red carpet even. But anyway, they are talking about Pete Dunne and the championship match next week, his rematch with Walter, and they say they're looking forward to it, but Trent Seven makes sure to mention that what really he's looking forward to
is their rematch.
Yeah, he says it's going to be a great rematch, probably the best rematch yet of NXT UK, but a better rematch will be when they get theirs for the NXT Tag Team or UK Tag Team Championships from Gibson and Drake. And I see a little bit of heelness, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the inklings of. Because did you see the way that Tyler Bate looked at him?
Yeah.
There for a moment, like, man, that hasn't even been like talked about or signed yet. Like, why are you going to steal the moment from our fellow British strong style guy? Yeah,
fair. First or second, episode, you had them already announcing that they're going to be taking the tag gold that hadn't even been introduced yet.
But then almost immediately Tyler Bate started helping Trent Seven fix his mustache.
Yeah, that was weird. That was odd.
Twirl your own mustache, bro.
You don't do that.
Yeah, like
manservants do that. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Like I have random people occasionally come up to me and grab my beard.
Yeah.
And so like I know what this, and obviously that's not a random person. That's his bro, but still. Like,
Bros don't do that.
Yeah, bros don't do that.
Bros don't twist each other's mustache.
No.
It's a little too weird.
Unless you had 2 broken arms. Or wrists or something like that. Dude, help me with my mustache.
A little bit
Totally, bro.
little bit cigarette-y. But we'll keep on going.
Do we really want to talk about this? I think this is just setting up for a possible rematch here.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Okay, so up after this, we get our next match of the night. Right in the middle, the debut of Ilya Dragunov against who better than Jack Stars.
Yep.
He is definitely the go-to guy when somebody's debuting and needs to have a semi-squash match.
Yeah.
This was a semi-squash match. I was pumped about Dragunov going in, his entrance, the way he comes out. He looks like he just snorted a line of coke this long before he comes out. He is jacked. Like he
three Red Bulls and a line of Coke.
But this sumbitch delivered. Let's see. My notes here are first off, they turn the lights down on the ring, and it's noticeable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? They kind of have to, because we all know what Jack Stars looks like. He's pale as fuck. Just remember the way his chest looked after Walter slapped him. Ilya Dragunov is from Russia, and he is also pale as fuck.
Yes.
And I think they turned the lights down to keep the audience from getting snow blindness. That's just a guess. That's my first note. And then my next note is that Ilya Dragunov hits about 742 clotheslines. He's the king of the clothesline. Just various different ways. And then he goes for his finisher that he hypes up super, like, in the corner to the crowd in every direction. And then he goes for a running uppercut. European uppercut. 1, 2, 3. Maybe this is not a popular opinion, but I was very unimpressed by Ilya Dragunov here. Other than his cocaine-like enthusiasm for this match, not that great.
What do you think of him, Chris?
I wasn't impressed at all with the match, honestly. I was so excited to see this guy that had him hyped up, and then when I watched him wrestle, it's like, he kind of reminded me of the guy from Rocky 4. He kind of reminds me of
Drago.
And I'm just like, and he looks like Stefan said, he snorted a whole line of cocaine before he went out there to have this match. But it should have been a complete squash. I don't think you should have had Star had really too much any offense, but he seemed like he got a lot more than I thought he was going to. If you're going to build this guy up, just have him completely destroy somebody. That's what I would have done differently in the match. But I wasn't impressed with it. Just clothesline, this. I'm like, what in the hell are we watching right now? He looks like he's just completely drugged up right now.
The cocaine lord of the lariat. What'd you think about it, Jerry?
Like you guys both said, his ring presence and charisma was great, but but he had absolutely no grapple holds, nothing. He was just pure strikes. And with me, I can't handle just a pure strike wrestler. So for him just to have nothing but that going on, I'm not really sold.
It wasn't even just pure strikes. Even when we saw Mia Yim the other day.
Yeah.
And she did those like 4 or 5 strikes, every one different.
Yeah.
You know, in just a short sequence.
Yeah.
Ilya Dragunov, he had a forearm to the back of Stars' head, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
But other than that, lariat after lariat, man.
Yeah. But the other thing about this, which I just had in my head a second ago, but floated away.
That was my fault.
It's okay. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Well, I have no other notes for the match. Again, underwhelmed.
Oh, the fact that his finishing move, like you said, the running uppercut or running European uppercut. Vanessa Bourne's look cooler. If you actually were to pull off that move out of the corner, that'd be a little sicker looking. That would at least be some sort of grapple hold that he can do.
If I had never seen Cesaro do the springboard European uppercut,
yeah,
that might have looked
or any European uppercut
yeah,
out
for
Cesaro.
real.
Seriously, the dude's the king of swing and just delivers European uppercuts like Domino's delivers pizzas.
If his stock hadn't fallen so far with the bar, like Sheamus's injury would probably be really great for Cesaro right now, but I think he's just destined for the bottom of the mid card.
Unless they bring Odo up there.
So after this, we've got Radzi interviewing Noam Dar and Mark Andrews about both the former match, the last time we saw them in the ring, where they both left on stretchers because they had the kayfabe injury to Mark Andrews' leg and the actual injury to Noam Dar's leg. And they're talking here about next week. Yeah, next week.
Yeah,
no,
next week.
Yeah, next week. We are going to see the rematch. And apparently Noam Dar is a babyface now.
Yeah.
He said during his time off, he made him realize that how much he wants to be in NXT UK and blah, 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 babyface, handshake, more babyface v babyface respect bullshit. I'm so tired of it. Sick of it, like 3 or 4 times in one show.
We're setting up for heel turn after heel turn, or at least double turn, like you said while we were watching the promo. But I see more shades of heel in Mark Andrew at this point, because of mounting frustrations from him losing so much lately. It's got to start getting to him, and I can see him coming off as almost like a Sami Zayn type heel, where he doesn't feel like he's a heel. He'll still play to the crowd and everything. He'll still do his arm wave and everything. And
well, if this turns into a double turn where Mark Andrews turns heel, I'll kind of be okay with it, even though I'd rather see, and I know you would, Flash Morgan Webster turn heel on Mark Andrews.
Oh, yes.
But I kind of do understand Noam Dar being a babyface because he had that tag team match with Kenny Williams.
That was a great match.
And Kenny Williams is a babyface, and they looked really good as a tag team, and I legitimately think they should become a tag team off of the back of Amir Jordan's injury. And in order for them to do that, Noam Dar needs to be a babyface.
Yeah, move Amir Jordan to like 205 or concession stand or something. But just
anywhere he can be used.
Yeah, anyway he can be used other than like matches with Kenny Williams, and we're going to put Noam Dar.
Just don't take Jack Starr's spot away from him.
No.
So after this, do you have any notes on Noam Dar and Mark Andrews here, Chris?
I mean, I'm just glad to see that Noam Dar wasn't as seriously injured as we thought he was when we saw that match and we reviewed that match when they both Andrews' fake injury and his actual real injury.
Yeah.
Because that was sick it was just weird and sick how he got hurt. And you thought certainly he was going to be out for a while, but it was nice to see him back on 205 Live the other day, and then a week or two ago, and then it was nice to see him back here, back in the UK. And I'm kind of interested to see how this match would actually turned up had he not got injured. I want to see how this match is going to play out next week. So I'm actually intrigued by this one.
Oh, that's the other question I'm going to go ahead and ask you on film. Do you think they're going to turn this into the fourth qualifier match since that has not been announced?
Could very well, or we still have another week of programming before the Fatal 4-Way, so they could work in an announcement next week.
Yep.
As to what that match is going to be. That could be the main event for 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now. But we'll see. After this, we've got Killer Kelly versus Xia Brookside. That's our second women's match of the night. And this match barely got off the grounds. Like, it was kind of chain wrestling at the beginning, and then we saw more of the fucking respect bullshit, because one of them had I think Xia had, Killer Kelly had Xia in a head scissors. And
the most comfortable looking head scissors on the planet.
Yeah. Who wants to get out of that?
Seriously.
So Xia gets out of it, and then she ends up getting a head scissors on Killer Kelly, who gets out of it, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're great. And then they go for a handshake. Amidst the handshake, we get entrance music, and I don't know who it is till I see the giant J on the screen, and I'm like, oh, it's Jenny.
It's like hey, Jenny's here.
Yeah.
Jenny!
She comes out, and Killer Kelly and Xia Brookside are in the ring just staring at her like, what the fuck?
Because Jenny is not dressed to wrestle.
Yeah, she's not dressed to wrestle. She doesn't have a mic. She doesn't say anything. She just holds up her hand, and then suddenly the music changes. And on the screen it says Jazzy Gabbard.
Yep.
And if you didn't see the Mae Young Classic, Jazzy Gabbard is big and powerful, and she comes to the ring in a beeline. Sort of a slow, methodical beeline, but a beeline nonetheless. And standing their ground is Kelly and Xia until Killer Kelly decides, I'm good. And she heads for Dodge. She gets the fuck out of the ring and leaves Xia Brookside, and they're like, the fuck? Where are you going? And why on earth do I have my back turned to Jazzy Gabbard all of this time? Where when she does turn around, yep, there she is, and there's nowhere to go. So she goes to swing at Jazzy, who catches her arm and then grabs her in a choke just to knee her in the gut.
Yeah.
But then brings her in, looks like a power bomb, but she brings her up in a Dominator, face first, Dominator, and then there you go. So it looks like this is now Jenny's muscle. Because otherwise, you got to put her in the picture with maybe Rhea Ripley and Piper Niven.
Yeah.
And this, if she's just like Jenny's muscle, then she doesn't have to be a contender just yet.
Yeah.
But she definitely looks like a contender to me.
Yeah.
What'd you think about this, Chris?
She looks like a man to me, but anyways, that's all I've been said that, but in my mind, but, God, I don't know what they're doing with this. Like I said, Xia, I feel bad for Xia, I always call her blue hair girl, because I actually said her name right for one. I feel like they're trying to book her like a Bailey kind of personality, pretty much. They're trying to book her like Bailey back in NXT when she was there for a long period of time.
Yeah, fly with Brookside.
Pretty much, they could have just not even had this match. They could have gone out there before the bell rang and did this, not start having a little bit of a match and then just going into it. I feel like they could just went out there, get ready to have the match, and then Jenny could have come out and introduced her and then had her squash Brookside.
What'd you think about this match, Jerry?
Well, Glamazon 2.0 just comes out there with like fucking Nuclear Man off of Superman 4 Quest for Peace. It just completely lays out Brookside, which is completely underwhelming. I'm like,
because it's Xia Brookside.
It's Xia Brookside. No one gives a shit. And then like Killer Kelly just bolting. I thought that was pretty great, but at the same time, yeah. This only shows me a couple things, and it's something that really disheartens me is the fact that I'm guessing Jenny is injured in some way, shape, or form. Because otherwise she'd be going after Toni Storm again after, like, her, after losing to her that first time. But now we get Nina Samuel going after Toni Storm, which means they have ran out of people. So Nina Samuel's already up there. And now we have Jenny introducing Jazzy as pretty much her bodyguard / muscle. So that only says to me that she's recouping from an injury, and chances are freaking Toni Storm caused it. Fucking hate her.
So,
hate you!
Speaking of Toni Storm, up next we've got a tweet from Johnny Saint. This makes it official. In 2 weeks' time, we are going to get Toni Storm defending the NXT UK Women's Championship against Nina Samuels. Who didn't see that coming.
Support! No DQ!
And that brings us to the main event.
Yes.
Tonight it is the second of the qualifying matches for the Fatal 4-Way for the #1 contendership. Tonight.
Well, third overall.
Well, third overall,
yeah.
But second for tonight. We've got Dave Mastiff versus Wolfgang, who comes out with Joe and Mark Coffey, but they stay behind. They stay on the stage, and then they go backstage. So this is going to be one-on-one. No interference on the outside, which is basically what we've seen out of Gallus a lot.
Yeah.
Is they trust each other to go out there and win one-on-one matches or tag team matches without having somebody on the outside, and which is weird for a heel group, but I dig it. It garners respect, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Chris go first since it's the main event. What did you think about this match?
I thought it was pretty much straightforward. It was pretty smash mouth to me at the beginning, and then Wolfgang having to try to do different things so he can get Mastiff off his toes and stuff. But At the end of the day, Mastiff hit his finish, which that roll. Oh my God, I'm gonna brain dead. It's like what Kevin Owens does. He does the rolling thing into the corner, and then he, like I said, beats him like that. And then, like I said, Gallus comes out after a match and just starts beating the shit out of him.
Yep. What about you, Jerry? What did you think about the main event?
I kind of already walked into this knowing that Wolfgang was going to lose because, you know.
Because Joe's in it.
Yeah, because Mastiff, and then you have Mastiff, who's still theoretically on a roll. He hasn't lost.
Yeah, he's undefeated.
Yeah, so he's going to naturally be in the Fatal 4-Way match. But Wolfgang put up a hell of a fight. He actually got a good amount of offense in. And the crowd was solidly behind him because, Scotland. And, when he came out to the ring, he howled right before the vocals kicked back in on the Gallus theme, and it sounded really cool.
Because the whole crowd howled with him.
Yeah, and that was just sweet. But Wolfgang is over in Scotland, but that's only because...
Well, in Scotland, he's Wolfie.
Yeah, he's Wolfie.
That's how over he is. They know this guy.
Let's go, Wolfie. But we just saw the usual stuff out of Mastiff, Vader 2.0. Lot of rehashes of gimmicks going on here, but I wouldn't say I was underwhelmed by the match, but I wouldn't say I was overwhelmed either. I was just whelmed.
I'd say if I didn't know going in that the match was 8 minutes long, I might have been underwhelmed. But this is basically what I expected.
Oh yeah.
Honestly,
I actually asked him. It's like, how long do we have for this match? 8 minutes.
Yeah, the after match was a solid 2 or 3 minutes of that, so this match wasn't very long at all. And a whole lot of it was taken up by this full Nelson that Mastiff broke out of eventually, and then sends Wolfgang rolling and then hits him with that senton splash. And then Wolfgang somehow gets Mastiff in the corner, and he runs in and he hits this crossbody splash where he lands it and then lands on the apron and then goes up top and comes off the top rope with a double axe handle because he's a big guy and Mastiff is still standing. So I'm not expecting him to come off the top rope with, say, a missile dropkick or anything.
Yeah.
So Mastiff, where was I? Oh, he hits Wasteland. He actually picks Mastiff up on his shoulders and he hits him with his version. I mean, that's the only thing I can think to call it. Because he's got him up in a fireman's carry and then drops him forward.
Yeah.
Looks like a Wasteland to me. And after that, Wolfgang goes up top and he goes for his Howling Senton, which looks more like a Swanton. And even Jerry said it rivals that of Sean O'Hare.
Yeah.
Great Swanton.
Swanton?
But he misses. And then Mastiff comes off the ropes with that crossbody splash. Harkens back to the opening match with Piper Niven. Like I said, they've got the same moveset. Anyway, he grabs Wolfgang up in a German suplex into the corner, where Wolfgang sits into the corner where you shouldn't be, and Mastiff hits the end of the void, cannonball, pulls him just far enough out of the corner to pin him. 1, 2, 3. 2.5 minutes left on this show. And you're like, oh, gee, I wonder what's going to happen. Well, first off, Gallus is going to come out, and Joe and Mark are going to help Wolfgang beat down Mastiff. They hold down Mastiff while Wolfgang goes up top and executes a perfect Howling Senton.
Yeah.
Look great. And then they celebrate in the ring. Of course, the crowd is celebrating with them. We are Gallus, the crowd says.
Yeah.
At least a fun finish to the match. And then the rest of that 2.5 minutes was a video promo hyping up next week's main event of Pete Dunne versus Walter 2 for the WWE UK Championship.
Okay.
So, that brings us to the end of the main event. And here on the NXT party, we rate the main event using good old-fashioned NXT. And as our special guest, Chris, you get to go first. Out of 5 spots of NXT, where do you rate this main event?
2.5.
I'm not surprised by that. Jerry?
I'm going to give it 2 3/4.
Ooh.
But that's only because I'm going to give it my first ever quarter participation award, as it almost like you did your best, because this was a solid mid-card show, and and basically the victim of the show at this point was the match order at this point, because if this was not the main event and Devlin versus Ligero, it would have been slightly higher, because I think we would have at least given it about 3.5. I think for
I think you could have easily gotten a 3.5 as the main event.
But then I have to look at the long run of the night. This is like pretty much the cool down match. I'd almost consider for what we're going to be getting next week. We're getting Noam Dar versus Managers, and we're also getting Pete Dunne versus Walter. So naturally, you're going to want a match like this to kind of be like the buffer for those two matches.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why it actually got the extra bump up. It's like, okay, you guys served your purpose. You're getting us ready, giving us a breather for next week.
Because I think this was a victim of the paperwork.
Yeah.
Because on paper, this is definitely the main event.
Yeah.
Because even though Jordan Devlin was in the earlier qualifying match, so was Ligero.
Yeah.
And when you think about Jordan Devlin versus Ligero versus Dave Mastiff versus Wolfgang, Dave Mastiff versus Wolfgang easily looks like the main event.
Because the heavyweight match.
But the way these matches were booked, it really should have been the first qualifying match.
Yeah.
I am going to be generous and give it 2 3/4. I believe it was just a victim of bad match.
Like I said, you did your best.
You did your best. It was better than middle of the road, I guess, for a main event with the angle and everything. But
the post match beatdown.
Well, the post match beatdown. The only thing cool about that was that Gallus stood tall in Scotland and the crowd was behind them. That was kind of, but at the same time, it was nothing special for an. And I mean, come on, it's 3-on-1. It's Gallus. It doesn't surprise me.
But very seldomly do you actually see them gang up on anybody, and we haven't seen that since, the first couple episodes.
The main event was so bad that they didn't even trust that to end the show, and they had to end it with a video package.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, middle of the road, maybe slightly better. But overall, a decent show, just not great. It was pretty good.
Yes.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of the NXT Party. And we would like you to join us on the big screen as our special guest. Thank you, Chris, for being on. Where can we find you?
You can follow me on Facebook at Christopher Mace, support NoDQ.com, support Aftermatch Wrestling, support the Civil Man Noah Foster and his show 205 Live Matters, support Colin Andrews with his show The Chopping Block, support Cindy, James, Owen, just support everybody. Like I said, at the end of the day, we all love or hate wrestling. Let's just all respect each other and our opinions about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of James, he does that Weymouth Youth Wrestling, that YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught a trailer for one of his shows.
Yeah.
Honestly, they are like the length of real shows, and I just don't have the time. But they look like they honestly put a lot of effort into the production of this. And it's almost like they're animating their own wrestling show using video games. It's really cool. So definitely check that out. Weymouth Youth. I really hope you can figure out how to spell Weymouth. Yeah. But youth is as youth.
James, if you're watching this, link it in the comments.
Link it in the comments.
Yep.
So if you'd like to join us, as I said, on the big screen and help us review a future episode of NXT UK, come have a spot of NXT with us. You can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. If you just want to find me on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find the gentleman, on Facebook.
At NoDQ General on Twitter. And on Facebook in my group Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Lots of different discussions going on with the supposed elite brands of red and blue. And a lot of just indie talk a lot more now too, which is really refreshing. I like seeing a whole bunch of independent wrestling. I like seeing a bunch of brands being brought in now that aren't usually talked about, and a lot of classic stuff too. So a lot of discussions going on, and it's really great, a lot of fun. find us on there. We got me and Stefan as administrators. Got Christopher over there as a moderator. So any of us will let you in. As long as you're active, awesome. If you're not active, I'll throw your ass out.
Mm-hmm.
It's his group, it's his rules. So if you like our video, you should click the like button that's underneath me. If you like all of our videos, you should probably click the subscribe button that's underneath Jerry over there. And find us on our YouTube channel, Aftermatch Wrestling. That's all one word, AFTERMATCH, Aftermatch Wrestling. That's where these videos, What's NXT and the NXT Party, go up live first. Usually about a half a day. A little bit less now that we do them in the morning. But you do get them in HD on Aftermatch Wrestling, so that is a bonus.
Yeah.
Our goal is 100 subscribers. We are at 77. We are well on our way. At 100 subscribers, we are going to start doing What's NXT? That's our NXT review show live.
In the morning.
About 7 in the morning, you can enjoy us live.
With French toast.
And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, the live chat, and our goal is to answer fans' comments at the end of the show.
Yes.
So if you subscribe to Aftermatch Wrestling, do click the bell. That'll let you know when we finally go live.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's all the plugs.
Buy a shirt at nodq.com.
/shirts.
Yes.
So, for the holiday, Christopher Mace. For the General, Jerry Slaughter. I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thanks for having a spot of NXT with us, and we will see you NXT time.
Cheerio.
Have a good day, y'all.